never thought I'd be back there, man.
Joseph Roberts is back in Savannah, his college town. For the first time in 5 years, the homecoming is hard.
So what's it like to be back here, Joseph?
It's spooky.
In fact, he's not even sure what will happen to him if he steps on Savannah State's campus.
I don't feel safe.
After serving in the Navy, Joseph was on track to become the first person in his family to receive a college diploma. Instead, he received this email that derailed his dream of graduating.
The email said, you're hereby summarily suspended. A couple minutes later, there was a campus-wide email alert with my picture. It was almost like a mugshot. If you see me, picture, immediately report to public safety.
The reason? 2 students filed complaints, making what Joseph says were false allegations of verbal and online sexual harassment. And according to documents obtained by ABC News, he was suspended the same day the first complaint was made.
And no one had reached out to you, interviewed you, asked you what happened, anything before that email went out?
No, no.
You were immediately found guilty?
Immediately. Just off the mere accusation. Done. Done.
Joseph says he and others just like him have been denied due process on campus because of Title IX.
The federal government today announced new guidelines for ending sex discrimination.
The groundbreaking federal civil rights law enacted in 1972, improving equality in education, strengthening women's sports programs, and calling for stricter procedures on how schools respond to allegations of sexual misconduct towards students. But controversial groups have argued that those procedures have caused an overcorrection, making schools quick to accept allegations of sexual misconduct and sometimes unfairly punish the accused.
How rock bottom did it get?
I woke up non-responsive, surrounded by EMTs and firefighters with an empty bottle of alcohol and a bottle of pills. Suicide attempt. That was the worst.
Under the Trump administration, which Roberts ardently supports, organizations pushing for the rights of mostly male students accused of sexual misconduct are receiving unprecedented attention.
You swear that the testimony...
As well as a huge shot of momentum from the he said, she said debate that played out in front of the nation. A case of 2 diametrically opposed accounts. A day of reckoning for the country. And reawakening a painful debate.
I say that it's a very scary time for young men in America when you can be guilty of something that you may not be guilty of.
We felt like somebody was finally recognizing.
Cynthia Garrett is a co-president of Families Advocating for Campus Equality, or FACE, and sits on the board of SAVE, Stop Abusive and Violent Environments, both groups that say male students accused of sexual misconduct often don't receive fair treatment from their schools.
I started to hear about these cases when people told me that the students weren't allowed to see evidence against them or even know what they're accused of before they're questioned. I said, this is America, you can't do that.
Amid widespread demonstrations and a government report saying only 12% of students report their sexual assault, the Obama administration toughened rules for schools responding to allegations of sexual misconduct.
Campus sexual assault is no longer something we as a nation can turn away from and say, that's not our problem.
But when Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos entered office, she scrapped the Obama-era changes.
It's an incredibly difficult topic.
Holding a series of listening sessions on Title IX, hearing from members of sexual assault survivor groups, as well as advocates for the accused.
Had you ever sat down with a presidential appointee about your cause in the past?
No, never. Until you can see somebody tell their story, it's very easy to disregard.
Joseph was one of the students Garrett brought along to the session to share his story.
Title IX is supposed to protect students and If you are accused, you're supposed to be given certain rights that I just wasn't given.
Savannah State University told ABC News they could not comment on any student's case specifically, but that they give every student due process in accordance with Title IX. Acting as his own attorney, Joseph sued the university, but the case was dismissed. However, he did complete his degree online and is now enrolled in a California law school.
What was it like to sit before Betsy DeVos and tell your story?
The only thing I can do is present my story and just hope and pray that she listens.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Joseph Roberts with us tonight. I got to ask tough questions here, as you know, but the point of the matter is that we want justice to be done. And let me first go with the Me Too movement here. You have a mom, you have women in your family. Are we supposed to believe women merely because they make the accusation of sexual assault?
You know, Ken, I just want to start off by saying this first. One instance of sexual assault happening, it's totally unacceptable, and it's something that needs to be from not only colleges and universities, but now to your question, should we believe? Absolutely. Absolutely. If a woman comes forward and says, I've been sexually assaulted or I've been a victim of harassment, yes, we should believe. Now, the things that we can modify are this: response to how we handle allegations and actions of sexual assault. Your question, yes, and that, should we believe them? Absolutely. But I'll let you take the lead so we can talk about the things that we could do to change how we respond to allegations of sexual assault on college campuses and universities.
Exactly. So one of the fundamental flaws with this on the college campuses, elementary schools, high schools, people don't understand that Title IX affects the entire educational system, is that merely, and this is one of the anchors with the idea of belief, is that I can accuse you, but I don't have to reveal who I am. Anyone can accuse you. How did it feel being on campus 3 months away from graduating and knowing that someone accused you after being a upright citizen, naval member? What was that like for you to get that? Did you think it was a joke? You know, something like that?
Yeah, it so long ago, and it wasn't 3 months before graduation. It was 3 weeks before graduation.
3 weeks. Wow.
If I could, yeah, if I could take you there, the night that it happened, I was optimistic. You know, my family, they made flight reservations to come from all over the country to Savannah to celebrate me. It was a big deal. I didn't find out until someone called me and texted me at that hour in the middle of the night and said, "Hey, did you get the email?" Campus-wide email alert, Ken. A wanted poster. Wow. It didn't list the accusers. It didn't list the accusations. It just says, "Hey, you'll never forget it. You're hereby summarily suspended." That if you see this person on campus, my photo, report to police immediately. Then, you know, I got a subsequent email sent to only me that says you are here to vacate if you are on the property, expulsion and or suspension pending the outcome of a hearing and investigation that never happened. How did I feel? It was beyond belief. Couldn't have been true. But, you know, the first thing you think is, hey, I get on this in the morning. First thing in the morning.
Yeah.
I have no idea what it's about. I get on it first thing in the morning, and then you start making calls into the university, and they send you through the maze.
Now, when you were talking with the university the next morning, did they seem to treat you as if you were guilty of these offenses?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's not even a question. It's not even a question. There's just a presumption of guilt. There's no question. No question. Now, you know, in the beginning of the show was Should we believe women? Absolutely. But at a college university, they believe them, and then they proceed as though you're guilty. So was I guilty? Absolutely. Did the university officials treat me that way? Without a doubt. Guilt. Never even had a chance to question. All calls into the university are unanswered, and all correspondences via email, depending on the level of your university's administration and the work that they put out and their response time. It could be really quick, but guess what? Mine was extremely slow.
Now,
No response.
Savannah State, now, most individuals, and I've spoken with people about Title IX today, and a number of women, and they're under the impression that if you're at a historically black college or university, you're going to be safe there. No one's going to do this to you. Is that also a failed notion of belief?
To everyone watching, I think we all can agree, a college and a university, it's pretty much a microcosm in a mimic society. So the same threats that you would have in society, I mean, they virtually mirror those on a college campus. For example, an accusation of sexual assault is going to be treated just as guilty outside as it will in the university. Now, as far as Savannah State, a black college being an incubator for safety, it's not immune to the issues that plague society. For example, black college, at the time there was a black female president, the lead administrator, the vice president of student affairs, black woman, black females accusing. And you got to remember, this was 2 years before Me Too. This was the last 2 years of the previous administration when the third wave of women's rights movement was at fever pitch, especially amongst black women. So that's what's going on outside of the university. So inside, you have an empowered group of women that are going to pretty much just pursue their own agenda. So is a black college safe? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for all the reasons that we go, you get put in, African Americans, when we go to black colleges, we're afforded leadership opportunities that we couldn't get anywhere else. But are we safe from the issues that plague society? If you are one of the if you're one of the subgroups that is oppressed by the issues that plague society, then no, you're not safe.
Exactly.
You're not safe.
Now, in a sense, Joseph, there are individuals who would. Okay, we seem to have missed your vocals. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Oh. Okay, you're coming in and out. You're coming in and out.
Okay.
Okay, that's
okay,
right there. That's perfect. Okay. There are people watching tonight. You're a naval veteran. You are attending school. You're getting your degree. You're 3 weeks away from your graduation. And they're under the impression if such an accusation is made and the university says it has offered protections of due process, then they are equal to the protections that were given your accuser. Can you explain to me what the university did for you 3 weeks before graduation?
Nothing.
Wow.
There was never a hearing. There was never investigation. There was no statement. There was nothing. My phone never rang. I never got an email. There was nothing. There was nothing.
Now, if you could explain to us, if you didn't receive any due process, did you know who accused you?
No, at the time, no. I didn't find out. 3 weeks before graduation. That's April. I didn't find out until I called the university department. They told me that they couldn't give me the police report. The only way that they release it is if I got an attorney. I had to drop just my case to an attorney, and in June, so the time period was from April to June, so it's about a 3-month window. In June, I found out who the accusers were, and not only that, I also found out that they were just total lies.
Wow. Can you explain to me how you come to that understanding that they were just misguided young people?
Well, the backstory of it all is the controversy stemmed around a student government election.
Really?
Trinity. Yeah. I'm a member of Omega Psi Phi. They were Deltas. There was a Delta running for student government president. She felt like she automatically won, and she felt like she was a lock for the position. I mean, this is like college, man. It's if you're a bit, you can imagine it. Well, the outcome of it was she didn't win. Hughes didn't support her. I was the leader of our organization, and so her and two of her sorority sisters, and they said things like they were afraid for their lives, and I mean, it were just total lies. Total lies.
Wow.
Total lies. I just, in hindsight, and we're so far away from it, Ken. I like to keep it on the upbeat.
Yeah.
Since then, I have forgiven them. I have forgiven them, and I always want to have, if I ever have a chance to see them. I haven't seen them. The outcome of the answer is hey, we wanted to get you kicked out of school, right? And we're proper channel to do it. The unfortunate reality of it all is that proper channel to do it exists, and it's still existing because it's still affecting hundreds of lives.
Now, for those who are watching tonight and they're listening to you and they're overwhelmed by this idea that a young man 3 weeks away from graduating could be immersed in such a petty situation of vengeance, or revengeance at least, for a college activity. There are those who are thinking, what justice was availed to you? How could you have fought this?
So, you're asking for that vindicated moment, right? The moment of vindication, right?
Yeah.
That's what leads us on the pursuit of justice. I was accused, expelled, no hearing, no due process. With faith in the system. Faith in the system that the university would fulfill their protocols that are in the student handbook, that I would have a chance to cross-examine my accuser, I would have a chance to make a statement. There's a list of things, and I think there was 8, and they're all here. So, whatever it is that I'm accused of, that's all I need to do is just sit in front of someone until it happens. That's what you rest. In that moment, that was the only solace that I had, was just my faith in the system. That I was getting a chance to explain, at least find out. At the bare minimum, at least find out that never happened. Keep going forward, still seeking that moment of vindication. I mean, this is the part where we start talking about a violation of state rights. Just those certain things that we just know that were enumerated. Just being God bless patriots. The constitutional rights, like the right to due process, and all those other things that were afforded. No one wants to enter litigation over graduation that never happened, but now we're talking about an issue of I don't deserve to be treated like that.
Yes.
Yes. So back to your previous question, colleges and universities. Let's just give all colleges and universities the benefit of the doubt and say, yes, we're safe from any form of physical violence and harassment. Now this is the threat, and this is the part that was the most concerning, that has led me on this path, is that I realize this: rights and responsibilities do exist, but if there isn't anyone enforcing them, or if there isn't anyone protecting yours, then they don't.
Yeah.
Then they don't. And you could be led astray. So what was the thing that gave me comfort and protection is that I just knew I was going to get a right to due process, a right to a hearing. But guess what, Ken? It never happened. So since it never happened, I didn't have anybody to work to defend my rights. I didn't have anybody available to enforce the responsibility of the university. So I ended up having to pursue legal remedy myself. Did I get the outcome that I wanted? No. I mean, it eventually led to me walking the halls of Congress for at least 2 years and me sitting across from the Secretary of Education. I mean, when you think about all of those people that have come before us, civil rights, this is the same path that they took.
Yeah.
Dr. For example, right? He didn't do all that hard work because he had rights in Selma, Alabama, Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
Nobody was there defending his rights, so he had to go almost to the same path. I ended up sitting across from Secretary DeVos. His path ended him sitting across from President Johnson.
Exactly.
Here advocating for and protecting the rights of, because the reality of it is, and I think this is a personal message I would like to get out. I've said it once before. We have rights, but if you don't have anybody protecting them or enforcing the responsibility of it, they don't exist.
Got to ask you here, Joseph. There are fathers of many of you, but especially Black fathers who are watching this interview tonight, and they're thinking, do I send my son to college? Because I don't want him to be sucker punched just as you were. Your thoughts on that?
And let's just be honest, dude. Do we send our sons to college? Absolutely. So what are the things that we have to tell our sons before we go to college?
Mm-hmm.
Well, my advice to my son would be, listen, times are different. You are in a situation where, let's just be honest with my son. I like my son because of age, 18 and 19 years old, he's going to be very tall and handsome.
Yes.
And because you're very tall and handsome, you are going to attract a lot of attention from the opposite sex. I would teach him and I would train him about a certain way and a certain responsibility that comes with that attention. For example, just real fundamental, ethical, good person things. Do not date multiple women.
Yeah.
Be upfront and honest. If you get into a situation that you don't feel comfortable, back away. Because, a lot of the cases that I've come across and a lot of the men that have been affected by the same reason, false accusations don't happen for any reason.
Yeah.
My false accusation happened from something that was a petty, messy thing.
Yeah.
Other false accusations come from heartbreak or lies and disappointment. So, let's get to the root and just avoid that. Just do those behaviors that are just not only make you a good person, but make you just a good citizen. And These are the things that, like I said, college and universities mimic society. So, these are the lessons. These are the truisms that a son will need to know, not only entering college, but after he matriculates and he's about to enter society. These are rules that will protect you in a university. These are the rules that will protect you in a professional setting. So, that's the advice I would give. There are men that navigate the universities that aren't falsely accused. I just want to make sure that my son is one of them.
Exactly. Now, there are those who have daughters. What would you advise the mother, the father of a daughter regarding the situation?
This is the first time I've ever been asked that. It's a very good question. The same advice that I told you I would give my son, I would give equal and opposite advice to my daughter. Okay? Be very cautious, or, just be very aware of the type of men that you're around. Are they men of character? Now, the way I would tell my son to avoid a situation that doesn't feel uncomfortable, I would tell my daughter, if you feel uncomfortable, or if you feel like you're being harassed or assaulted, then you will go through the authorities. Well, the first thing I would say would be call me. The second thing I say would we would go through the authorities and the proper protocol. Do not do anything, a knee-jerk response that could sabotage the rest of our lives. And let's put this situation in the hands of the authorities and trust them that they'll do the proper channels. Here's the thing that's going on at college and universities, even Black colleges, even Savannah State.
Yeah.
Women are putting those issues and those circumstances in the hands of the administrators at these universities, and they're sweeping them under the there's it happened, hey, you let them on, or maybe, hey, he's a star athlete. It'll affect his reputation and our reputation as a university, so let's push you to the side. That's why Title IX right now is reaching a fever pitch. Both sides of the aisle, no one agrees with it. Both sides of the gender, there's a gender war between it. Nobody agrees with it. But to my daughter, I would tell her, hey, look, call me. Let's heal ourselves. Let's start the healing process emotionally. And then we'll put it in the hands of the authority. And I'll tell you what, if it was my daughter, then I would do everything that I can to hold someone to account to make sure we get to the bottom of it.
Exactly.
Now, I've been falsely accused.
Yes.
Even in my false accusations, I'm going to be like, hey, look, you said he did it. Sit in front of me and let's hear what he has to say. Go ahead.
That is great fatherly advice. Here's the question for a lawyer. You know in your heart of hearts, because not only did you experience it yourself, but you know of other cases where the man is virtually guilty on accusation, and that those administrators filled up with groups from the women's studies and feminist groups are on campus, and they don't see you as someone who's subject to the Constitution. They see you as the victim of their agenda, the person that they were going after from the very beginning. How does a lawyer approach this on behalf of that young man?
First thing you do is you empathize. Mm-hmm. You empathize. And you let them know, hey, look, there's no good reason why you had to experience the things that you had to experience. Good lawyering in a situation like this is let you know that the outcome, you may or may not get the outcome that you want, but the road to vindication is very long. There have been big fish on college campuses that have lost promising careers in the National Football League and the NBA.
Yeah.
But we're going to think we could do to get started. And the only thing that I would ask the best advice is just to be honest with me, as an attorney representing. Did you do it? If that's a true no, then let's start getting to the bottom of it. The way things are before, or, things have changed with Title IX, changes on the horizon. But the way that it was is the most attorney can do in a case like mine is maybe put political pressure on the university president who's protected by their end of to publish. The best lawyer in the country.
Joseph, I got to close up here, and we thank God for you being on our program tonight. But there are two questions that we will end this with. The first question comes from Bonnie Williams in our chat room. She's the mother of a young man. And she asked, what provoked you to keep fighting? How did you go on?
Bonnie, it's higher power. Just a higher power. I'm not in control of this. When it started, you saw that same interview that we saw at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
I had no idea that I would end up here. I had no idea that I would end up law school. I had no idea that I would end up being a face of an issue like this. When it happened, and when I started walking on this, just doors started opening up. Every door closed, one open. Or the thing that kept me going was I cannot allow this to fail, because if it doesn't work out for me, I won't have any faith in the system. And I didn't want to lose that.
Yeah.
I have faith in the system. And, there were times when it was stalled. There were times when I would reach landings, and there were times when I would achievements. And here I am with you answering your question in the chat. Can you do it? Higher power. And, is the journey finished? Absolutely. There's so much more to be done. Right now I'm in lawyer limbo, just wrapping up another year of law school. After that, I'll be graduated, passing the state bar, and higher power, God willing, which he seems to be very favorable along the way. I'll be back in Washington.
The final question for you tonight is if there is a young man or a young woman who's watching tonight and they're saying to themselves, I'm in your same shoes and I'm feeling what you felt and I don't want to go on. What did you say to yourself, or what was said to you so that you would not return to a suicide attempt?
Ken, when I was in that same situation, there were no words. Tried and failed. To a woman or a man that's in the same situation now, I can't put my phone number on the screen. The producer, call me. You're not alone. You're not alone. Let's talk. I believe in you. I believe in you. And there's a purpose that you're here. We're all special. Let me tell you my story.
Joseph Roberts SF.org. It is a tremendous opportunity to talk with you tonight. For those of you who are following along at home, you can get in contact with Joseph Roberts at 415-619-4788. 415-619-4788. These stories that we bring to you are not ginned up. They're not elaborations of myth. These are real stories. And this is why Friday nights are the hardest night on open heart closed case night. Joseph Roberts overcame the world. The world was set against him through pettiness and through vengeance. He suffered, but he got up and he walked. So what I'm going to encourage each and every one of you tonight, and I'm putting this in the chat room for those of you who are listening, and especially for you men and women who are out there who are being accused and know that you do not have your rights, you need to pick up the phone and contact Joseph, 415-619-4788. You can fight this and you can win. Joseph, we thank God for you, and we look forward to you coming back to our program, not just for this particular issue, but for other issues. That not only law, constitutional law, but also, I notice that you have the Make America Great hat. I'm quite certain it's because you support Joe Biden.
Hey, I tell you what, Mr. Ken, this is what we'll do. The next time we see each other, I mean, of course, that goes both ways. If you're ever in San Francisco, California, I had a friend out here. If we never see each other before November, let's have this conversation under the confetti on
there you go.
Night.
That's what I'm talking about. Joseph Roberts, we love you, man. We appreciate you. We thank God for you, and you are an example of how God works in people's lives to overcome the world. Thank you so much. We look forward to you coming back again real soon.
Absolutely, and I appreciate you, Ken. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, you got the telephone number. When we come back, I will give that number back to you again. But I'm going to tell you right now, don't give up, don't give in, and don't give over. The fight is not merely yours alone. The fight, my friend, is for all of us. We will be here for you. And that number again for picking up the phone and calling Joseph Roberts, it's 415-619-4788. We'll be back with more of the best right after this.
Every week on the Tech Line, we get the question, do I have a round butt?